guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I know the plan for my next video was going to be a top 10 pre-hiatus Fall Out Boy song video. I have it filmed. I'm still in the process of editing it. I like to edit. It takes me a long time to edit like any type of list and top 10 video. So I really didn't have time to do it like that soon. So basically, I'm just going to make this video so I get some kind of content up, and I'm going to keep editing my other video to make it perfect for everybody. So this is just going to be a quick video because as everybody knows, it is summertime, concert season is coming up, and that means that there are a lot of meet and greets that have already been sold or like are in the process of being sold now. And I remember like back when I got my first meet and greet ticket to meet my favorite band of all time, Fall Out Boy, I like was freaking out, and I just like went online and just searched for literally as many videos as possible to help like kind of help my nerves and like kind of like get it through my head of that it's not really a big deal, you know, and it's just, they're just people, and you know, honestly there really isn't that many videos out there. Like a lot of people like sometimes will vlog their experiences or kind of like talk about it here and there, but there really weren't a lot, you know, of videos talking about meet and greets, what to expect during meet and greets and things like that. Like I was just a complete wreck. So I decided I'm gonna make this video to help some people out. This is gonna be more for like band meet and greets. I've never really been to like solo artist meet and greets or anything like that. I'm not sure how much they actually would differ. I don't think they differ that much. But this is just for like, I guess mostly like band stuff. But so first of all, there's like kind of two different categories when it comes to, you know, buying a meet and greet. So there's these smaller bands and artists. These are the bands that play in like bar venues or like, I don't know, like theaters, I guess, like nothing like, no like amphitheaters, no stadiums. If they're not on like mainstream radio, they're most likely like a smaller band. I've met Paris before, and I know a lot of you guys know who they are on my channel, but for those of you who don't, they're a very small alternative band. They are getting a little bit bigger. Like they did play Coachella this year, but of course they play like the early morning set, so they are getting bigger. But back when I met them was in 2016, in the summer of 2016, on their first headlining tour. And I wasn't really sure how it was going to go because the only other band I met was a much bigger band, which I'm going to talk about later on in the video. So I was like, I wonder if it's going to be like kind of the same thing, the same kind of security, like the same kind of rushing and stuff. But it really wasn't. Definitely my number one tip is if you are confused and you're not really sure about, you know, how this is gonna go, and this goes for either a small or a big band, but to show up early. Like if you get an email that says your time that you're supposed to show up, because most of the time these companies that do the meet and greets will send you out an email at least 24 hours before the event to tell you what time you need to show up. I would recommend to show up at least an hour before that time, especially if you're confused and you're not really sure. And definitely, you know, this is like where you're like actually at the venue, standing in front of the venue, so make sure you get enough time to park. Like especially if it's like at one of these bar venues or like a downtown venue in a city and you have no idea where you're gonna park, and like, you know, there's random parking garages like all over downtown. So give yourself more than an hour time, so you're standing in front of the venue, ready to get in line or to find where you're supposed to be at least an hour before the allotted time. If this is a general admission concert, you could even show up earlier, obviously, if you're going to want to get like, you know, a good spot, because a lot of these times these meet and greet packages will include early entry. So definitely get there, you know, obviously like if you want to, you know, get there at noon or whatever, like go for it, but at the very least an hour before your time. Okay, so you know, you get to the venue, and then usually for the most part there's signs around kind of directing people, or actual like staff themselves. But if you're still confused and you're not really sure and the email didn't tell you, I would recommend to go to the box office and ask. You know, there's nothing wrong with asking. And if the box office is closed, tweet the venue and just, you know, ask around. If you see other fans, ask around. You know, somebody will obviously know. And then, you know, just get in line. And once you're where you're supposed to be, a lot of the stress of everything, like, kind of will just dissipate. And you'll just feel better that you're where you're supposed to be early. Okay, so this is kind of where it differs from smaller bands and bigger bands. So smaller bands and artists, like you wait in line, you know, then usually they'll take you into a like some room in the venue. Sometimes it's a hallway. It just kind of depends on the venue. The smaller bands meet and greets that I've done, you kind of wait in line with everybody else, and then there'll be like a curtain or a backdrop or something where the band or artist will be standing behind, and then you just kind of wait your turn, and then you go up to the artist. From my experience, you can talk to them a little bit, and then you take a picture, they sign something along those lines, and then you leave. With the smaller bands, usually security is not as crazy about like hugs and touching and like things like that. If there is like a rule against it, they will let you know, so you're not just like going to go in there blind. And like, don't be afraid to like upset a celebrity, because if they didn't say, oh, you're not allowed to hug them, then, you know, obviously the celebrity will be okay with it and will most likely, you know, give you a hug or whatever you wanted from them. So while you're waiting in line, this is what I would recommend if you're really, really nervous and you're afraid of what you're going to say. I would recommend to like think of a couple things in your head as you're waiting in line, or even like the night before, like whatever. And especially when you're in line, just kind of repeat it over like in your head the way you would say it, like over and over and over and over and over again. So then once you get in front of them and you've been like just like conditioning yourself with this phrase, you'll be able to say it. And this is gonna sound kind of weird, but like once you start talking, it gets easier. It's like when you like first like see them, sometimes like this happened with me, but like sometimes your mind will just go blank and you'll be like, I have no idea what to say. But then like even if you just like say hi and then you just kind of start talking, it gets easier and you kind of realize that they're just people. But yeah, smaller bands and artists, the security isn't as tight, so you'll be able to like talk to them a little bit longer. It's a lot more relaxing. There's not as much security to make everything so like nerve-wracking. Onto like bigger bands, like as a lot of you guys know, I met Fall Out Boy back in 2016 as well, and basically it's very similar to the smaller band, but a lot of times like with parking, like especially if it's at like a venue that has like a parking garage or whatever, like you can't get there as early as you'd want to, and a lot of times with these big stadium venues, you're actually going to go inside the venue. So usually like you'll get all of your security done like while like before the meet and greet. So like you'll get like you go through the metal detector, you'll have to get everything out of your pockets, everything like that. So I recommend to definitely like, I don't know, like bring like a comb or something, or like some extra makeup or whatever, because you're going to be going through the security process and nobody really knows how that's, you know, a lot of people, like it could go like either way with like pat downs and hair. If you have a hat on, like your hair will get messed up, whatever. So I definitely recommend to do that. And so then once you get in the venue, usually it's a lot more securitied. I don't know if that's even a word, but like, so you're going to stick with your group and then you're going to go with your group through the venue to wherever the meet and greet's being held. In my particular case, when I met Fall Out Boy, the meet and greet was like out, like in the venue, like out this door, like they had like a side room. It was kind of like, it kind of reminded me of like a field house kind of place. So, like, we would, like, go outside the venue and, you know, whatever. But, like, while people were getting, like, checked in, like, a lot of times, like, they'll have your name written down, or you'll show them, like, your confirmation or number or whatever, and they'll check you off, and then you'll wait inside, and that's not the place where the meet and greet's gonna be. It's just like a waiting line to get to the next place, so everybody gets checked in. And this is your ample opportunity to use the bathroom, go like fix your hair and makeup as fast as possible. But this is only for the people who I would say are in the first half of the line. If you're towards the back of the line, you really don't have time to do any of that. So that's another reason I would try and get there as early as possible. And I know these big stadium venues, like, it's hard because sometimes things don't open early enough and they don't let people line up. Like, that happens at a lot of places. But definitely as early as possible, so you could be one of those first people in line. And definitely check to see how many people are actually doing meet and greets. Like, if there's like a giant line of people and you're towards the front of the line, yes, you have absolutely more than enough time to go into the bathroom and do whatever you need to do before you meet the band or artist. But like I said, if you're in the back, I wouldn't risk it, like, unless you knew you could be as fast as possible, like, because they will leave you and then you're just done. Like, you're just, like, a lot of the time, like, if they do leave you, like, you'll get, like, a nice security person to be like, okay, yeah, I'll take you back to the group. But you never know. Some people could be having a bad day and want to screw you over, too. So that's, you know, life. That's people. So with big artist meet and greets, usually they would, before they take you to the place where the meet and greet is, the security officer in charge of the group will kind of run down some rules. Like, for example, for the rules before meeting Fall Out Boy, we weren't allowed to, like, you guys have probably seen the pictures before of the band holding people. Like, we weren't allowed to ask for pictures like that. Like, they didn't want anything like that. And they also said if you'd been sick in the last month to, like, not hug them. And they really meant it. Like, they said if you cared about these people, you cared about the band, they're on a long tour, like, you need to be, like, respectful and not hug them if you have, like, some kind of illness, you know? Like, things like that, like, you know, and then, like, a lot of the time, like, if it's a person, like, that works for the team, they understand that we're the fans, so they tend to treat you pretty well. Like, Fall Out Boy's security guy, I met him at a few shows. He's a really, really nice guy. Like, he's a little bit scary because he's supposed to be the security guy. But, you know, they know that they're working for the band, and they know that the fans, you know, are important to the band, so they're not going to treat you shitty. Usually the security that's going to treat you bad is actually the venue security because they don't care about you, you know. So my suggestion, if you have, like, a venue security guy who's being kind of a dick, is just to be as respectful as possible because these people do have the right to kick you out if you piss them off or if you disobey what they say. So that's definitely a big one. Like, if you have a short temper fuse, like, just suck it up because you don't want this moment to get ruined. You know, just be respectful. Just be, you know, even if they're not respectful to you, and I know that's hard for a lot of people, but you gotta do what you gotta do to just get through this. But you'll be able to tell if they're actually working for the band or if they're working for the venue. Like, you'll be able to tell. And a lot of times with bands too, like, they won't let you give them gifts. Some bands do, but if they say no letters, nothing like that, and you have gifts for them, just try and find somebody that works for the band. Make sure they work for the band, because if they work for the venue, like, there's no way in hell they're ever going to get it. But if they work for the band, ask them politely, like, will you give this to so-and-so? Like, for example, like, when I met Fall Out Boy, I had a letter for Patrick, and I gave it to Fall Out Boy security guy, and I asked him to give it to Patrick, and he said he would, and he had, like, a little bin of, like, letters and stuff that other people, you know, were giving to the band. So, I mean, who knows if he actually did get it, but that's the best chance if they don't actually let you give it directly to the band. So for the big band and artists meet and greets, it's very quick, very, very, very quick, because a lot of times, like, they sell, like, about 100 or so, and then they have radio contest winners and things like that. So, like, it's just, like, they just want to push people through as fast as possible, especially because the band needs to sound check, or they need to get ready for their show, or, you know, whatever they got to do because they're busy people. So, just, I know it's going to be hard, especially if it's your favorite band of all time, because Fall Out Boy is my favorite band of all time, and I met them, and it was terrifying. The whole experience was just terrifying, but, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world either. Again, just try and think of something you want to say, because this is going to be quick. Like, the smaller bands and artists, you'll actually kind of be able to have a little bit of a back and forth conversation, but with bigger bands, it's not going to be like that. Like, it's going to be like, hi, how are you? I love your music. You've like really inspired me. Like, this song means so much to me. It's going to be something like that. And they're going to say, oh, thank you, you know, whatever. And then you're going to take the picture, and then you're going to leave. It's literally 10 to 15 seconds long. It's so fast. So here's another tip for you guys. If you have a band member in particular that you want to get a hug from, I would recommend, especially if it's your first time and you're really nervous, I would recommend to ask them for a hug for the picture, because then you'll know you're going to get your hug. Like, if you wait until after the picture, the security might just be like, okay, like, get out of here, leave, next people, you know, so then you might miss your opportunity. And then when you first get in there, you might be so starstruck that you'll just be like, what? And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, it's time for the picture. And that's what worked for me. Like, I knew I wanted to get a hug from Patrick, so I asked him, like, I don't even know how these words came out of my mouth. Like, I can't even really remember it, but I looked at him and I'm like, Patrick, can you please give me a hug? Or no, I didn't say that. I said, Patrick, what did I even say? I said, Patrick, can I hug you for the picture? That's what I said. I'm like, can I hug you for the picture? And he was more than happy to give me a hug. Like, he grabbed me, pulled me towards him, and gave me a really big hug. I'll post some picture. I'll post a picture of it because you can actually see, like, in this picture, my body's like right here, and like he's pulling me like this because I didn't know he was gonna pull me like that because I was so like, will you give me a hug? Like I was just so like nervous about the whole thing. But that would be my recommendation. Like, say your favorite band member is Pete, and you're like, I really want to give Pete a hug. I would just, you know, recommend to just tell him, like, Pete, like, even if you don't say anything else to him and you really want a hug, just be like, Pete, can I please have a hug for the picture? Hug, you know, hug picture, because the picture lasts a good few seconds here and there while they're getting, like, ready. They take a couple to make sure it's, like, you know, good or whatever. And, you know, and then I would also recommend after you give them a hug to say thank you for hugging, because a lot of bands don't hug anymore. And if bands don't hug, it's not the end of the world either. You could like ask to put your arm around them or whatever. You know, that's just as good. But for bands that still do hug, like Fall Out Boy or, you know, whoever, you know, just always say thank you and tell them how much you appreciate it. Like, I understand if you're nervous and you just run away. Like, I mean, I get it. But, you know, to just keep, you know, emphasizing how much we appreciate them taking the time out to meet people is just, it means a lot. And I know Fall Out Boy aren't doing as many meet and greets anymore, but they still do like different contest meet and greets and like different things like that. So like they still are meeting people. It's just not like payable for the public anymore. So, you know, if you want a contest and you're going to be meeting somebody and you get a hug from them, I would just always recommend to thank them. And, you know, because that means a lot to them. You know, they'll know that their fans are appreciative of the time they're taking out of their day to meet people. So, and then, you know, after you're done, like, don't just, like, wait around. Like, don't try and, like, play the system either. Like, if, like, you're there, like, if you're a parent watching this and, like, you want a picture with your kid and then you want a picture with your kid by yourself, like, and they said you're not allowed to do that, and you get to the band and you ask the band, well, the band isn't going to say no because, you know, because they love their fans and they don't want to disappoint you. But if the rules are set by the band, so that's what the band wants. Like, when, you know, people ask for, like, the Fall Out Boy to pick them up in the picture, like, and there's a rule against it, like, that the band is setting the rules, you know, like, they're in charge, like, and their security, so it's like their team is in charge. So if you want to break those rules just because, you know, you can get away with it because the band isn't going to say no, like, that's another reason why bands won't want to do meet and greets anymore. Like, no, they won't. So, you know, after the meet and greet, you need to leave. Like, you can't just, like, wait around or anything like that. You gotta go, you know. Another thing, too, is, like, a lot of the big band meet and greets, like, not so much the smaller bands, but the big band meet and greets, they won't let you have anything with you. Like, they'll make you put your bags on a table or, you know, put your phones on a table, whatever. And that's for, like, safety reasons. And you cannot try and sneak a phone in there. You'll get in a lot of trouble if your phone taken away. I would definitely not recommend to do that. Like, just, you know, I know you want to remember every single moment, but, you know, especially with, like, all of the safety stuff going on now, like, just do not try and break any rules. Like, that's not good. But again, for smaller bands, my friend was actually able to film me meeting Paris. I'll post that video over here. And that's really nice to have. Like, I wish I had that, you know, for my Fall Out Boy meet and greet. But even though I don't, it doesn't, like, change the fact that it happened. And, like, it happened almost 3 years ago. And I can remember it so vividly. And it means so much to me. And I have the pictures to prove that it happened. So it's definitely, like, just don't try and break any rules. It's not worth it. And then, you know, you'll leave and you'll be like, I was an emotional wreck after I met Fall Out Boy. Like, because, like, as you know, they're my favorite band of all time, and I cried, and I was, like, freaking out about it, and that's another good reason to bring, like, a hairbrush or makeup with you, because you're just going to be a wreck. Like, a lot of times while you're waiting, like, in line, you're going to be so nervous, and you're going to be sweating. Maybe bring, like, some deodorant or something. Like, I know it's getting a little bit personal, but it's definitely something to think about, because you're still going to have the rest of the concert, you know, to, like, be gross. Like, I don't know. Like, that's, like, your own prerogative, I guess, but that's what I would recommend for meet and greets. Are they worth it? If they're your favorite band, if they mean a lot to you, I think they're absolutely worth it. I can't really comprehend the people who spend, like, thousands of dollars to meet people for, like, I don't know. I mean, if they're your favorite person of all time, obviously I get it, but I don't know. If Fall Out Boy ever charged that much, I don't know, maybe. I know that's so dumb, but maybe. They would be the only band I would do that for, though, so. Alright, you guys, well, that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like some more videos on meet and greets. I could do, like, how I, like, purchase my meet and greets and the best way to do that, especially for a band or artist that sells out very fast. Any other questions about meet and greets, let me know down in the comments below, and I will definitely answer those for you guys. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I will definitely see you guys very soon for my top 10 pre-hiatus Fall Out Boy songs. I'm sorry it's a little bit delayed. I just want to edit those to make them perfect, because I like going back to those videos too. Like, it's kind of selfish. But anyway, I really hope you guys are having a great week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.